Okay, we're working on these 59 heads here, getting them finished up. So I got these things all cleaned up now, blasted them. So you can see the weld mark right here, but you can only see where the filler material, which is all of this, got stuck to the original material here because the aluminum didn't want to stick real good right there, so left you kind of a mark. But you can see how everything else, you don't really notice it. And you can see how the exhaust port is all hidden in there. This looks like a nice stock new head. No marks anywhere. It's nice and ported on the inside. Yeah, some light in there. Not too much of a difference in welding between those two. So you can see a little bit right here with a little bit of transitional area difference, but other than that it's nice and even all the way through. No big globs of crap or waviness. This one here is the one we did the intake nipple repair on it over here, so that all kind of got hidden away. Clean the ports up a little bit up in there so it'll breathe a little better. I'll never leave those alone. But anyway, overall these look pretty nice. It's hard to tell what's been fixed and not fixed, but if you look, these fins here have been replaced. You can see kind of in there a little bit. There it is, a good shot of where the welding mark was, way down here, way down deep in there, so that's all new from there out. So both of those two fins there have been replaced completely. Like I say, if you do a good job, you don't see the stuff that's been done to them. So these ones we didn't do the spark plugs on, these are in stock here, but you can see how everything else on here is nice and clean. So I'm not even sure what I did on these. I don't remember how many fins got fixed, but see how just everything looks good. Yeah, this has all been welded through here because I know I did those. I welded a whole hole up right there, so you don't really notice it. Once again, this whole exhaust port's been replaced, so it's all my detailed grinding hides it so you don't see that it's really been worked on. And of course it's going to run good. It's nice and clean on the inside, no burrs and crap again. That's the worst thing to be dealing with, all that crap on the inside. So anyway, I just got done putting the studs in here. I got 3 I did on here. This one here I'm putting them all in it. So just want to show you what we're doing here. Basically you just take 2 nuts here, screw them down. Got the other nut right here. See how good I am on my left hand here. So you got to be able to work with both your hands when you're a mechanic. Alright, so you just put them both on there like that. Put the 2 wrenches here. So you take this here, put the first nut in there. There it is. And you take the second wrench, go here on the outside, and then you squeeze down on it. Now you can do everything with one hand like this just by squeezing it to tighten or loosen. I said if you tighten it, you go that direction. If you want to loosen it, you just reverse it to the other side over here. And then you just squeeze and now you loosen. So that way you don't have to hurt yourself when things pop and you bang your hands into everything. You just by how you hold your wrenches. Okay, I'm using a red Loctite here, or 3-ball and sealer actually on this one. And I put the Loctite in the hole, and I put some on the stud, and then we just screw it on down. So let's go like this. You don't need much Loctite, that's plenty. And I always put some in the hole because the Loctite stays on the outside when you do it. So you got a little bit of Loctite down there in the hole. And a little bit more than that, but it's hard to see at this angle. There we go. So I got a little bit in there. So now the Loctite, when you put it in, you already got Loctite in the hole. So when the stud hits the Loctite, it's going to shove it down deeper and lubricate the the inside of the threads going on down. And then you have the Loctite on the outside here, and you can see how it comes off the outside. And that lubricates the stud on this side. So between the two of them, you got Loctite being put on all the threads. Now these here, I had to figure out what height I want to put these in at. So I went and measured a bunch of heads. I measured all these 5 studs here that I already had that were stock. And I'd go measure a bunch of other heads. And basically anything from 1.400 to 1.450 looks like it's the stock number. So I'm shooting for 450, 1.450 or slightly less, which basically is about 1 7/16 of an inch, or slightly higher. Okay, so we went down there a little bit, and you can see how it looks like we're close to the number we want, but probably a little bit high. So you go in here and look at it, and you can see that we're at about 540 or so. Right there up, so we want to get down to 450. So basically these threads right here, we're going to limit a couple turns. So I just take this, and we just tighten this wrench, keep tightening the wrench up. Now, as long as you tighten this top nut, it'll probably go ahead and go all the way in. If you pull on the bottom nut, it's going to unscrew on you. It takes the torque off the nut. Now, if you tighten into your body here, your body's holding the head, and you can work with one hand, see. If I was over here pushing it like this, then the head's rotating on me, and it's hard to do anything. So you gotta learn how to use your tools. Okay, so now we're about 480 or so. And maybe you can see in the camera, I got a quick side glimpse is all I got, but that's close enough for me. So go ahead and keep tightening this up a little bit. Now studs are supposed to be tight going into a head, not loose, or into anything. That's how studs work. Studs actually have an oversized thread on the side that goes into your parent material, and the side that has the nut on it is standard size, so it spins on easily. That's how studs are supposed to be made. The problem is a lot of these aftermarket studs are made wrong. Okay, looks like we're a little bit under 400, 450 I mean, but I'm going to set where I can see it. Where's the top of the thread? Yeah, we're about 430 or so maybe. And see, you can see in there. Close enough. And if I really cared about it, I can go back and just go about that far, but in this case the nut unscrewed. See, when you unscrew the wrong side, it just unscrews the nuts, so the jam nutting. Alright, so we're stuck at that number now. That's alright. Go ahead and wipe off the excess Loctite and whatever crap was in the thread or in the stud and pull it in. Make sure it's nice and clean. These studs over here, these are Dorman studs, American made stuff supposedly. These are ARP, which is definitely American, very high quality. And these here, the part that threads into the head, or whatever you're putting them into, are standard size, so they're loose. So these you screw in with your fingers. So that means the stud is just basically like a bolt, it doesn't really do its job. So even though these are quality pieces, they're made wrong. So it doesn't matter how much you pay for stuff, if it's not made right, it's not made right. Those are for my race bike, but they're made wrong, so I'm not happy with them. Doesn't matter how much you spend for shit. Junk is still junk, doesn't matter how much you paid for it. See, that's automotive stuff. Automotive, they don't care how they make stuff, so they have their ways of doing stuff. Alright, so now we got all our studs in here. They're all the same height, all the way across. So when you put the nuts down and all that, it'll all be equal. Now some of the studs are shorter or longer on the thread part. That's the distance right here between the top of that thread and the top of the stud is different, because the length in here is different on the cut. So if you look at, some of these are bottomed out and some of these are not bottomed out. So you can't go by where the thread is because it varies. So most of these were the same length, they were the longer style, but there are a couple short ones. These two here are definitely short ones. That one's a short one. These two here are short. So this one, half the one on this head are short. And this one over here, those three I put in, one short, two long. And the Harley ones are all sticking up too. You see them, threads are all sticking up. So you can't go by that. You got, like I said, you have to actually physically measure the height so you know where things are at. So anyway, that's how those are there. And these are the valves and stuff here. We're going to clean those up in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and set them up for my valve clearances for my cam. So next thing I want to do is I want to look at the rocker arms. So we're going to go ahead and clean those up a little bit. These are all the rocker arms over here. We got a couple sets of replacement ones, and these two here are original, and these two here look like they're original for some older repop ones, but I think these are original too, just later design. So anyway, I'm going to clean those up and see how they fit onto the heads, and that'll be the next part we'll work on.